Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. I'm going to be doing the Capricorn energy reading. As always, take what resonates, leave what does not. We're going to be looking at what you may be struggling with, advice from the tarot, and energy coming in. So we have what you may be struggling with is the Four of Cups, discontent and boredom. We have the Six of Swords, moving on. And I feel like these two, we have the Eight of Swords, trapped in fear, and then we have number 2, intuition, which is the High Priestess. So I feel like this trapped in fear one is a big one for you. Like you're trapped in this fear of making a move. Like you want to move on from something because you have moving on, but I feel like you're really bored with something and you feel like you want to pursue something else, but I feel for some reason you're trapped in fear. And is that fear that you have possibly from your past, that it's a cycle that you're trying to set free from? All right, let's grab advice from the tarot. We have the Nine of Cups, which is fulfillment of wishes. And we have new beginnings, which is the Fool. Love that. Love that advice. And we have number 11, balance, and that is the Justice card. So that could represent Libra, but I'm not really feeling Libra energy in the advice from the tarot. Energy wanting to come in for you, we have number 9, solitude, and that is the Hermit. That's good. The Four of Swords, rest and rejuvenate. Again, that goes with the solitude. And then we have number 6, which is the Lovers, which is harmony, and that could represent Gemini. The Hermit can represent Virgo. So there's kind of a lot of people around you. Overall energy, we have passion ignited, the Ace of Wands. So trying to get your passion ignited here. I feel like this is what this reading is trying to get you excited about something and trying to get that feeling of just feeling that passion ignited, right? Getting excited, feeling motivated. So what you may be struggling with is we have this Four of Cups, we have the Six of Swords, and we have the High Priestess, and we have the Eight of Swords, trapped in fear. So we have discontent and boredom, moving on, intuition, and trapped in fear. So as I was saying earlier, is I feel like you're not happy with a situation. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be just your life in general, that you're not really happy with it. And you're feeling kind of trapped in this. Maybe you're feeling trapped in this, well, this is what it is. I guess I'm stuck here. I can't make any changes. Every time I try and make changes, nothing ever happens for me. It's always working against me. But I feel that there's like this little ember inside of you because we have this intuition, and I feel, which is the High Priestess, and I feel like there's this little ball, right, of energy that's saying you can do it, you can make the changes, right? That you know that there's more out there. And for me, with my struggles, is there was always that little ball inside that was saying, come on, you can do it, you can push through this, you can get past this, there's a better life than this, there's a better, like, things will get better. And there was always this little ball of energy that was pushing me to make decisions and to keep going and to keep pushing through. And I feel like that's why the intuition is here with what you're struggling with, because you're really not in tune with that and you're not believing that. And it's almost like you're working against that. For some reason, I feel that you're trapped in fear. I feel like this is the big card that is sticking out for me with what you're struggling with, that you feel that you can't move. You feel like changes aren't going to happen. The problem with that is that if that's where your mindset is, right, because the swords represent your analytical side and it's what you're thinking. That's where your mindset is. And if that's what you're thinking, that you are trapped and that there is no way out, that's what's keeping you there. But I feel your intuition is kind of that little key that's kind of dangling outside that area of feeling trapped, that's saying there is a way out. There is a key, right? You have the key, that you can find your way out. I feel that you're unhappy with this situation, with this discontent and boredom, and I feel like you want to move on, but you're feeling trapped that you can't move on. The advice from the tarot is we have the Nine of Cups, we have the Fool card, and we have balance, number 11, which is the Justice card, which is making, I feel the Justice card is making things happen for you. Things are happening in your favor. But I feel in this instance, it's making things happen for yourself and starting over and starting fresh and fulfilling those fulfillment of wishes. But I also feel like it's that the Nine of Cups to me represents that emotional fulfillment that you have within yourself, that you find within yourself. And I feel like it has to do with your mindset, which I was talking over here, is that you feel trapped in fear. And I feel like that's something that you need to look at, is why do you feel that you're trapped in fear? Is that your comfort zone, which I've talked about that so many times before, is finding your comfort zone. Even though when we think of a comfort zone, we think of something that's warm and cozy, and it's kind of like that card that I have with this one deck where it's the 10 of Cups and it's the man and the woman are on the couch and there's the cat and it looks cozy and there's the warm fire and it's this cozy feeling. But unfortunately, I've learned that sometimes your comfort zone could be a place that you really don't want to be comfortable in, that you really don't want that to be your comfort zone. And it's a very negative space. And for me, that's where mine was. My comfort zone was feeling alone. It was feeling useless. It was feeling like, why should I try? Because nothing's going to work. Only bad things happen for me. You know, it's never going to happen for me. It's never going to work. And that, unfortunately, was my comfort zone. So because that's what I was thinking and that was my mindset, my subconscious would always find things to confirm that, right? To keep me in that. So I feel like that may be for you too, is that, do you feel trapped in fear because that is your mindset? Like that is your comfort zone. And I feel like that's what you have to work on. If you do feel that that is that, why do you feel that way? For me, it was because of my father. Like he put me in that mindset. And he told me that for 2 hours when I had finished college. And then I was going to move to another state with my friends, which he wasn't happy with me, which my father never really said anything to me in my life. Like he never said it. He never once said, I love you. He never took me out for father-daughter stuff. We did go to a dance when I was in college, but like it wasn't, I didn't even really want him there. Like he never took me out as a kid. We never did things together. I was never daddy's lover girl. I was never that. I was not that. And no, I forgot where I was going with that. Darn it. Oh, so he proceeded to tell me for 2 hours how I'm a horrible person. I'm never going to amount. So a person that I've always tried to please, that I've always wanted to get his approval, when he finally speaks to me for 2 hours. And he tells me I'm worthless, I'm useless, I'm never going to be anything, I'm never going to amount to anything, I'm a horrible person, 2 hours he sat there and did it. My mom sat in the other room and listened to it, let him say it. And that really trapped me in fear. It trapped me in fear. So I went back to that, and every time, you know, throughout my whole life, you know, I was probably like 19 or 20 when he told me that. And so always throughout my life, I would remind myself, like subconsciously, it's like, oh, well, your father said that you're worthless, so that must be true. So trying to fight against that was really hard. And I finally realized his words don't matter. Like that's his own issues that he has. And that always tortured me. It always tortured, it was always a struggle for me until he passed away a year ago and I felt free. I was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. and I don't have to deal with that anymore. And I felt so free. And it's just like this sense of freedom that I'm finally coming into my own, which I wish I had done this a long time ago, but I felt trapped in fear because of what he did to me. And I always have been trying to fight against that, but I was always reminded by my subconscious about that because I couldn't let it go. So I feel like you looking back into saying, okay, where did the first start? You know, obviously when I was, you know, my childhood wasn't good, but definitely that was a big moment for me to remember. So kind of looking back and saying, okay, you know, if I feel trapped in fear, why do I feel trapped in fear? Where's the root of this? Where's the stem of this? I'm not a therapist and I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying my experiences that I have gone through, that I have fought through, and that I have persevered and pushed through. I'm just saying what I've gone through because I've had so many amazing messages from people saying that they're in the same place, they're battling through the same thing, and then it feels so much better to know that they're not alone. And you're not alone. And that's what I love about the internet, is that you can find people who have the same story as you, that not exactly, but I mean that have gone through the same things. And it's scary to tell your story. It's scary to put it out there, but I feel like when you feel you have a voice, you feel strong and you feel powerful. And that's what I feel now. And that's how tarot has helped me, is I felt strong and I felt powerful, and that's helped me to push through. So I feel like the advice from the tarot is for you to go after your Nine of Cups and to fulfill those emotional fulfillings for yourself. That even if you have a parent, like I even had a father that never fulfilled any of my emotions for me, not a positive one ever, which I know it can sound crazy, but it's the truth. He ruined every single holiday. It was a nightmare. He was especially crazy on holidays. And it was, I remember when I had went away to college, I went back home and my mom, my sister and I were looking at videos, and because he would videotape everything, all the holidays and everything. Like we couldn't open up any presents until he had the camera all set up, and usually something went wrong and it turns into this fiasco. And so we had watched the videos and we were like, wow, this is really terrible. Like he's really ruining everything. And we all just sat there and cried. Like our memories of the holidays weren't even good, you know, and it was just like we were all crying. And I just remember that, and it was like so terrible. We were like, he ruined everything, and he did. He got better as he got older, but he still had a lot of those same traits. But I was learning to let that go, and I was learning to not let him affect me, and I was learning that I needed to fight for me. And I feel like this is what you need to do, is you need to fight for you, is that you need to fulfill your own Nine of Cups and not have somebody else fulfill that for you. Whether it's, you know, a friend, a family member, a partner, like you have to find that fulfillment within yourself. You have to do the things, you have to build yourself up. And that's what I've been doing over the last quite a few years. And I've been able to look at myself and tell me that look at myself in the mirror, in my eyes, and tell myself I am amazing, I am great, I deserve amazing things to happen, right? All of the good things that happen, and that's my new comfort zone, and I love it. And so I feel like this is your new beginning too, is like your new comfort zone is that fulfillment of wishes, but within yourself, and having those new beginnings and making things happen for yourself, right? To turn that around and to leave this, that if you're not happy with a situation and you want to move on, then you move on, right? I'm not telling you what you have to do. You have to choose what is best for you, but I'm saying, doesn't mean you have to do it right now. It could be something that you are working towards. Definitely took me years to move on from that. But it's listening to that little ball of fire that you have going on inside you with that intuition. And the tarot saying is make it happen, right? Make your dreams come. Ignite that passion and make it happen for yourself, and push through those and find the root of why you're feeling a certain way. And, you know, really logically say, does what that person have to say and that person's approval, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. The only approval and what really matters is how you feel about it and how it makes you feel. And that if you need to make those changes, you have to step up to the plate. It's easier said than done, I know, because it took me decades to get through this. And it was and I thought that's the way, families were. I thought that's just the way it was supposed to be. And it's not. And it's not the way I want it to be moving forward. So I feel like sometimes we have to ignite that passion. We have to do our own 9 of Cups. I'm not saying that you can't have positive people in your life that are there to help you, that are to help you have that fulfillment of wishes, to have that emotional support. I've definitely had, people that have helped me with that, not very many, but I'm not saying that to not rely on anyone else, but I'm saying your biggest fan should be yourself. And I feel like that's what the tarot is saying too, is fulfillment of wishes for yourself, having those new beginnings with the Fool card, and making things happen for yourself and feeling more balanced with the Justice card. The energy that wants to come in for you is the Hermit card, so I feel like it's taking that time to yourself to really process and work through these things, these feelings and these emotions. We have the 4 of Swords, which is rest and rejuvenate. Give yourself, emotional work is extremely exhausting. It's so exhausting. It's very tiring. I feel like it's more tiring than physical work. And emotionally it's very exhausting. And then we have harmony, and I feel like it's that harmony and love that you have for yourself, and focusing on those relationships that bring you happiness, that bring you fulfillment, right? Focus more on those and move away from the ones that make you feel trapped and in fear, and trying to move away from those, but focus on the ones that bring you harmony and bring you happiness. But I do feel that it's about taking time to yourself. We have the Hermit, which is Virgo, and then we have harmony, the Lovers, which is Gemini. So it could represent people that you have around you that really kind of make you feel that comfort. But we have the rest and rejuvenate, which is that person by themselves. I do feel that you need time by yourself to work through this and to process this and to think about it. Journaling definitely helped me a lot with this. Writing things down, writing my emotions down, writing my feelings down, crying things out, crying. I can't even tell you how many times I was a ball on the floor just crying for hours on end, and my face was like swollen, and I was a hot mess. But it was part of the process that I needed to do. Not everybody has to go through that same thing. We all work through it in our own way, but for me, that's what I needed to do to release it. We have Scarab, Beetle, Spirit. We have magic works for you, and I love that. Like, you are magical, you are powerful, right? You are strong, you can make things happen, right? Believing in that. It has so much to do with your mindset. Your mindset is absolutely everything, and I'm not joking about that. I usually, on certain days, I go to the barn, and before I would try and get my readings done before I went to the barn, because, I was just like, oh, that's the way that I have to do it. But it's so hot now, and it's so humid now, that I've decided that, okay, I'm going to go to the barn in the morning first thing, and then I'll do my readings in the afternoon. And I'm like, before my mindset was, no, I can't do it. But now my mindset is, you can do it. And I tell myself, you're going to get those readings done. You're going to get those done, and you can do it, and you can push through it. And I've been doing it, and it's just made my days, I feel more productive. I feel that I'm so proud of myself, because it's all in my mindset, right? That I'm not going to be tired. I'm not going to be groggy. I make sure that I'm drinking enough fluids, that I'm eating, and that I'm, taking care of myself better, so that I can do my work in the afternoon instead of doing my work in the morning. So it has a lot to do with your mindset. So I feel that, again, goes with this over here, is your mindset, is that, it's saying I'm not trapped in fear, that I'm going to set myself free, whatever that may represent to you. And I'm going to make the changes that are needed for these new beginnings, and I'm going to ignite my passion. I'm going to make the changes and choices that I need to free myself from this situation, from this discontent and boredom. We have choice, understanding consequences. sometimes we're not ready for those changes. Sometimes we kind of think about them. Sometimes we're like, well, I would really like that to happen, but I'm not in the frame of mind right now to make that happen. And that's okay, because you have to be on board 100% when you're ready to make these changes. You have to be full on board, because that's how you're going to get the results. Otherwise, you're just going to be repeating a cycle. That you're just going to keep going round and round. You're going to go back into old ways, and you're going to go back to old habits. And definitely I did that for many years, until I was finally able to be strong enough to break free and to set myself free, and to not let that bother me anymore. But unfortunately, I would have to say that it always still kind of bothered me until he passed away last year, and that's when I really felt free. That's when I felt like the chains were broken, and I really felt free from that. I hadn't had any contact with him for about 7 years before that. So I was in contact with my mom, but we really didn't talk about him. So I had no contact. My sister didn't have any contact. You know, everyone made their own choice and decision on whether they wanted to have contact with him or not. I never forced my thought or opinion onto anyone else. I said, you know, for my children, I said, it's up to you. If you want to have a relationship, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. It's up to you. But I know that for me, I can't have a relationship, so I didn't. And so I did feel free in that sense. So that did help. But really, ultimately, it was when he passed away that I truly felt free. And I was able to breathe. I was able to breathe freely and feel so much better. And I'm not saying I'm happy that he's gone. He had his own issues that he had to deal with and he had to work through, and that's fine. But he was taking those things out on me, and I couldn't deal with that anymore. I couldn't please him. I tried so most of my life to please him and to suppress my feelings and to suppress how I felt. And it's realizing that, you know, is making that person happy at a loss to yourself. And if it is, how important is that relationship? People can choose to do whatever they want to do. If they want to suppress their own happiness and they want to continue to serve someone that is never going to be happy, and I've seen that happen. I've seen people who have literally sacrificed themselves just to make someone else happy, and that person is never happy. And it's so sad to see. But that's their choice and that's their decision, and I support whatever it is that they want to support. But I know that for me, this is what I needed to do. And it's about realizing the choice and understanding consequences for yourself, and saying, if I move on, or if I stay trapped, if I start new beginnings, if I figure this out, if I make changes, if I don't make changes, what does that look like? If I leave things the way that they are, what does my future look like? If I make changes, what does that look like? So that's up to you to, you know, choice, understanding consequences. It's your choice. It's no one else's choice except for yours. And I feel like the choice is like breathe, to relax, to feel a sense of release, to let that go, and be like, oh, okay, that's over, right? Or I'm working through it, or it's gonna get better, and just feeling better. Let's grab an angel answers for this reading. We have listen to your intuition. All right, so that's your answer right there. You were struggling with your intuition, and now look at Angel Answers has come up to say, listen to your intuition. And that's what I've been saying all the way from the beginning. And that's what I said, is that little ball of fire was inside of me that kept pushing me forward and kept telling me not to listen to his words, and kept saying that what he said wasn't important, and to keep pushing forward, like you can do it, you can break free from this cycle, right? From those chains, that you can free yourself. But you have to listen to your intuition, and you have to believe in that within yourself. That's what I said. That if you don't believe that it can happen, and you're like, oh, I'm just always going to be trapped in fear, then nothing's going to change. You're going to keep yourself trapped in fear. It's all about your mindset and setting that up to say, okay, I'm not going to be trapped in fear. I'm not going to settle with this. This is not how my life is going to be. This is not how I want it to be. And I'm going to power through and make the changes that I need to make. And that's part of the reason why I left after college. And that's why he told me those horrible things for 2 hours, is because I was choosing, right? There was that little ball of fire that was inside of me that was saying, go with your friends, right? I was moving 2 states away, and I was like, go with your friends. Like, don't go back, because he wanted me to go back home so that he could control me even further. And I was like, no, it was a chain that was being broken then, and he did not like that. I ended up getting disowned from the family. I couldn't talk to my mother. I couldn't talk to my sister. And I was like, you know what? That's the choice that I'm going to have to pay for my own freedom. And to me, I felt it was worth it. And so things just aligned. And so I moved a few states away. We did end up working things out, and I did reconnect. And my mom said that that changed him. It definitely changed him, because he realized he didn't have the power over me anymore. I had grown up, and I was older, and I was able to make my own choices. So that released some of it, but it was not, you know, he couldn't control me like he did before, but he would still, there were still problems. And I feel like it's listen to your intuition. If you feel the need, everybody was shocked, because I was always such a quiet person, and I always did exactly what I never really went out with my friends. I didn't party. I stayed at home. That's what he wanted. Never went out on the weekends. Never did it. I have very little stories to tell. Like, there's nothing. It was very boring. I stayed at home all the time. I did chores. I worked. That's all I did. And I feel like it's listening to that intuition, and mine was saying, it's time for you to break free, and listen to that within yourself. And it says, if it's time for you to break free and it's time for you to make a move. It was incredibly scary. Nobody thought I was going to do it. My mom was like, none of us in the family could believe that you did that, because you were always so quiet. I was like, yeah, the quiet ones are the ones you're going to watch out for, right? And it was just, everybody was so shocked, and I was like, yeah, I'm not accepting this. I might be quiet, but you know, you're not going to fool me. You're not going to control me. And you know, I wanted to move on. Regeneration, rebuilding yourself, right? Rebuilding yourself. Sometimes we have those situations that tear us down, and it's time to regenerate yourself. It's time to rebuild yourself. It's time to get yourself back on track, right? And that's what we do throughout life, is always those processes that, you know, sometimes it helps a little bit, right? And then it helps a little more, and a little more, and a little more, and then we know where to put our focus towards. We have door to personal healing and happiness. So again, I feel like it's, you have the power to open those doors, of personal healing and happiness. And you have to open those doors, and only you can open those doors, and that's what you have to realize. So it's empowering yourself, even though you feel that you're powerless, but you're really not. You have more power than you realize, especially with that scarab beetle spirit that says magic works through you. My favorite story was Cinderella, because it always seems so magical. And so I like just believing that the magic works through you. You have to believe that within yourself, even though everything on the outside is trying to tear you down. We have Sun, open your heart to the enormous growth ahead. I just feel like it's repeating messages here for you. I feel like it's showing, the cards are saying how powerful you are. Listen to that intuition, and just break yourself free from a situation that you feel. And this is not something that is going to happen overnight. This is something that you have to think about, right? Because we have the energy coming in for you is that solitude, rest and rejuvenate. This is stuff that you have to process. It's stuff you have to work through. It's stuff you have to, you know, I feel that it's a process that takes time, but realizing that just realizing that this is the path that you have to take, like that's the beginning of your journey, saying, okay, I got to change something. You know, I don't want to be trapped in fear anymore, and it's time for me to do something about it. Even if it's just journaling, right? If it's just writing things down, it's just releasing things and letting go, or talking to those people that you trust, or doing more research on it, right? Looking on the internet for your situation, and finding those people that can empower you, or those messages that can empower you. But ultimately, the choice is up to you, and that you're not alone. And that's why I tell my story, and it's taken me a long time to tell my story. I've told little bits here and there, but I've never really fully come out with my story, and I want to, and because I want to share, and I want to help other people that feel the same way, and I want them to know that they're not alone, and that you can come out on the other side. This is something that I know. This is something that I've been through. And this is something that I know that I can tell my experience for what I went through. And if that can help even one person just a little bit, then that, I just feel so great about that, right? If that just helps like one person to realize and to not stay trapped in fear, and to set yourself free. All right, again, I've babbled on, but I just feel it's a really important message, and I just feel like there's a lot more people that struggle with this than I think we realize, or that care to admit, and I just want to get the message out there. All right, thank you so much for watching, especially if you're still hanging in there with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you have an amazing day. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.